So let's go ahead and jump straight into the NFL honors. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick so you guys can see it. So you're not just looking at my ugly mug. And pa! Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into the first one, which is this one is Walter Payton Man of the Year. We didn't really make predictions on that. I didn't see anything about that. Actually, I kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you. And Walter Payton Man of the Year is really just kind of like, well, the good that you did outside of football and things like that. Eric Armstead tends to do stuff like that outside of he's very active outside of the NFL and stuff like that. So it makes sense that he finally wins this award. I think he's won before. I could be wrong, but congrats to Eric Armstead on winning that award and getting the recognition he deserves, because he does do a lot for his community outside of NFL. So shout out to Eric Armstead. All right, jumping into the next one, Coach of the Year, which was Kevin O'Connell of the Minnesota Vikings. Wow. Honestly, I was right about this one. I wanted Dan Quinn to win, but I feel like the obvious answer was Kevin O'Connell. And what do you know? I was right about that. Kevin O'Connell wins this award. I mean, it just made sense, especially considering what he did with Sam Darnold. The expectations of that team was completely obliterated. And the reason why Dan Quinn didn't get it is because Jane Daniels is a baller, while Sam Darnold was just being carried by the guru-ness of Kevin O'Connell. So it makes sense that he won Coach of the Year in this situation. Some people said Dan Quinn and stuff like that, but Kevin O'Connell was definitely something I expected to win in the end. Next one, which was really, honestly, when we did this last night for predictions, Comeback Player of the Year was the longest conversation we had. Just because people disagreed with me, saying I think Sam Darnold's going to win it. Obviously, I'm wrong here because Comeback Player of the Year was Joe Burrow. You guys were right. He ended up winning that award because he was out for the rest of the year last year, and he got that W. But this was the longest conversation we had last night about Comeback Player of the Year. And I just find that absolutely hilarious. It's one of the most unimportant awards of them all. But Joe Burrow wins that award. I mean, I guess it's not something I'm going to hold against him. I think it's something that he does deserve to win. I'm not going to be upset and say it's rigged just because Joe Burrow won over Sam Darnold in this situation. But shout out to you guys who had Joe Burrow winning this award. I was wrong about this one. Apparently, this is not the first time Joe Burrow's won Comeback Player of the Year. Burrow's also won Comeback Player of the Year in 2021 when he returned from his torn ACL. So he's won this award twice already. And I think that's kind of weird. Both because it's expected, man. If Joe Burrow ever tears his ACL at any point in the season, he's going to come back and ball out every time. So he's a lock to win this award every single time. So I just find it kind of interesting, kind of funny. So shout out to you guys who had Joe Burrow winning this award. Shout out to you guys. And be sure to hit that like button if you guys can do that. I appreciate it. Let's jump into Defensive Rookie of the Year. Rams D lineman Jared Verse. This was the most easiest one. This one was a given. We all kind of saw this one coming. I mean, there's really no debate here. I think a couple people said other people, but Jared Verse was just correct. It's just the right situation. He was the most impactful of them all. Some people say Quinyon Mitchell. I get that. Yes, Rams defense was phenomenal for what it was, but it's got mostly a lot of young talent on there, and the standout on that young talent was Jared Verse. As for the rookies and the Eagles defense, they have an excellent line, right? And that's the argument that Zach Bond had for Defensive Player of the Year. It was like, yeah, he played great, but he also had that D-line. Same thing here. They have that D-line to work behind. So, of course, Quinyon Mitchell had some benefit to that, of course, compared to Jared Verse, who's actually impactful and was part of that D-line and stood out the most compared to Quinyon Mitchell. But, however, here the votes are. Verse got 37 first-place votes. Eagle cornerback Quinyon Mitchell got 7 and 4. Other players got 1. So, at least he was second place. He got some recognition there. However, this just makes sense, but it does seem that the Rams are just constantly drafting Defensive Rookie of the Year. Last one they got was Donald in 2014. So shout out to Jared Verse, man. Looks like a threat. I liked him in the first round. I knew he was going to be good, and I was kind of bummed when the Rams ended up getting him too. So I was kind of really bummed about that. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Jaden Daniels. This one's the obvious one. I've seen some TikToks and some videos of people complaining, oh, Brock Bowers should have won it. It's like, okay, quarterback gets first dibs. Okay, we all know that when it comes to awards in general, okay? Especially for Rookie of the Year, it's going to go to a quarterback if the quarterback performs. And that's what Jaden Daniels is. He had some clutch performances. He has some clutch wins. Some luck, sure, you can argue went his way. Still, he got it done. It doesn't matter if Brock Bowers had one of the greatest rookie seasons of Raiders greatest rookie season of all time in the NFL history. And I understand it's the Raiders and it's those QBs he's working with, that offense he was working with. I get it, but there's really nothing you can do. As long as a rookie quarterback balls out, they're going to win that award. And that's exactly what Jayden Daniels is. So I feel like this was a gimme, and I don't think people should complain too much. They should complain about the award being like a quarterback award mainly, like, because that gets main priority. They should complain about stuff like that. However, to get upset that Jayden Daniels would get it, it just made sense. It just made sense that he got Rookie of the Year. Then this is Defensive Player of the Year. I had Myles Garrett winning this, and Patrick Surtain was my second. Trey Hendrickson was my third, but it was definitely between those three players. Honestly, Patrick Surtain, he was phenomenal. Had an insane year, incredible year. One of the best defensive players, obviously winning this award. Someone the 49ers almost traded for at some point a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I think, or maybe even last year. I could be wrong. He deserves it. I mean, finally, a corner comes up there, wins that award. You think a DN would get more priority because DN is one of the top three positions, so that's kind of what I was going with. When Myles Garrett, why I thought Myles Garrett should win the award. Patrick Surtain, definitely a standout in that Broncos defense. Probably the best, is honestly the best defensive player on that defense. Well deserved. I think he well deserves it. Patrick Surtain got 26 votes, while Trey Hendrickson got 11. Myles Garrett got 5. So Hendrickson did get some of the votes. TJ Watt got 3. Zach Bond got 2, and 1 each went to Kirby Joseph, Van Ginkel, and Jonathan Grenard. Whoever picked Kirby Joseph, Van Ginkel, and Jonathan Grenard, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm throwing that out there right now. But Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, and Surtain getting the top 3 most votes. I definitely had that correct, who was the top 3. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy that I just think it's weird that a corner got priority over a DN. Saquon Barkley, honestly, him winning Offensive Player of the Year, when he won that award, when I saw that he won the award, I was like, okay, he's not winning MVP. Offensive Player of the Year is just second place MVP, really, unless like a defensive player pops out and they win MVP. But that rarely happens. And you knew it was going to go to an offensive player. I don't think there even was a defensive player that was nominated for MVP. So this just makes total sense that if Saquon Barkley got second place, you knew that he wasn't going to win MVP at that point. So it was between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Saquon Barkley, if he came away with no awards at the end of the night, that would have been absolutely shocking. Okay, he would at least deserve Offensive Player of the Year above Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow. He's just, what he did this year is unprecedented. It's not unprecedented because it's not saying like we've ever seen it before, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's just one of the best running back seasons of all time, and he deserves that award. I'm super happy for Saquon Barkley. I hate that he's with the Eagles because I'm not the biggest fan of the Eagles, but I'm super happy that he went somewhere to prove himself. That because apparently there's people out there that doubted him, that says that he was washed and the Giants killed him. He's done. I thought that was ridiculous personally. You still saw what he could do. There's the offensive line that was behind with the Giants. He was still doing incredible things there. Just wasn't as effective just because of what he was working with. The moment he went to the Eagles, right, and that offensive line, I knew he was going to ball out. I was like, fuck, dude, they're going to be great. I was like, dang it, man, this team's going to be good. Just because he got Saquon Barkley, dude. And he lived up to it, man. 2005 yards this season. He could have gone for the record against the Giants the last game, decided not to do it. I mean, the unselfishness of that whole situation, the selflessness of it, to be like, I just want to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl instead of just putting myself out there, tired myself, and possibly injure myself. It worked out. Obviously, there was a lot of pressure on Saquon Barkley to perform. There's a lot of pressure on Saquon Barkley to show up. If he gave up that record and didn't make the Super Bowl, I feel like that would hurt him. Like that, he would look back on and be like, man, I should have done that. But hey, he went to the Super Bowl, right? He went to the NFC Championship. He went to the Super Bowl. He deserves it. Congratulations, Saquon Barkley, man. You took a risk. You took a shot, and it worked out for you, man. You also had a great playoffs. It was the first game you were in, not the best start. But after that, divisional to NFC Championship, you turn on the Jets, man. You got it going after that. Congratulations. And it wasn't like you were carried either. Like, it wasn't like I'm not trying to talk shit about CMC here, but CMC wasn't the best in the playoffs, right? And Saquon Barkley was phenomenal in the playoffs. Okay. CMC was just used to the ground. And once the playoffs hit, he wasn't as good. All right. He wasn't as clutch as we needed him to be. And Brock Purdy in the end had to come out and carry us to a win from the Lions to the Packers. Usually some people said it should have been CMC that did it. While Saquon Barkley came up and was like, hey, I could do this, and actually performed. And he was phenomenal and helped carry the Eagles to wins. The first game against the Packers wasn't as great, but after that, the divisional to the NFC Championship, he was phenomenal. Well-deserved for Saquon Barkley, Offensive Player of the Year, hands down. Like, no one else deserved that award if he wasn't going to win MVP. So, all right, NFL MVP. This is the big one. This is the big one, and that is Bills quarterback Josh Allen wins MVP. I wanted Josh Allen to win, but I thought Lamar Jackson was going to win this award based on hype, based on what everyone was saying, and I thought it would have been bullshit. The reason why I thought it would have been bullshit, I'm sure if you guys have seen my short, because the same argument that was made against Dak Prescott or Brock Purdy was because they had weapons around them, because they had support around them to get those stats, to get those things that were done. Brock Purdy was first in multiple stats, so many of them, and was not considered for the MVP, and went to Lamar Jackson by like almost a default, just because, and the argument was, he did it himself. And what I mean by he did it himself, he still had Mark Andrews. He had Dobbins, I believe, or something like that, who was still not that bad of a running back. Those are still technically weapons, but people said that was still just Lamar making it happen. That was all Lamar, right? No one was giving Likely's flowers last year either. But this year, now he has Derrick Henry, the upcoming of Likely, Andrews, Flowers, Bateman, that incredible offensive line. He benefited greatly from that. While Josh Allen literally did what Lamar Jackson did last year, which was the reason why he won MVP in the first place. The reason why Josh Allen won MVP this year is the same reason that everyone said Lamar Jackson should deserve MVP last year. He did it himself. Yeah, did he have some help? Technically, yeah. He had James Cook, a top 10 running back, right? He had a pretty good tight end in Kincaid. And I know he had that playoff issue there, an offensive line. But compared to what Brock Purdy had last year, what Dak had to Lamar, is equivalent to what Josh Allen had to what Lamar has. And the reason why Lamar was so phenomenal statistically, and we all know it's not a statistic award, because if so, then Brock Purdy should have won that shit last year. The reason why is because Josh Allen had mid-ass weapons. Lamar Jackson had the stats he had was because Derrick Henry was opening up passing lanes, was because players were getting separation on all the time. Like, he had the weapons to get it done, to get as far as he did, to carry him as far as he did. Because I'm telling you right now, he would not have that statistical year if he didn't have these weapons around him. While Josh Allen did not have these weapons around him and made his players better. James Cook did as good as he did because everyone had to focus on Josh Allen more than James Cook. And when you do that, it opens up running lanes for James Cook. Josh Allen carried James Cook's stats and the rest of his offensive stats. Lamar Jackson was absolutely carried by Derrick Henry, who had 1,700 yards, was phenomenal, 300 and something carries, which opened up passing lanes left and right down the field for Lamar Jackson. This was well-deserved for Josh Allen. If you're saying that Lamar Jackson won the award because he did it himself, then Josh Allen winning this award made sense because he did it himself. It was him. He was the most valuable player. If you took Daniel Jones on the Ravens with the weapons he had and the offensive line that he had, he probably still makes the playoffs. If you put Daniel Jones on the Bills, they are just the Giants. You're not winning games like that. Who is more valuable at that point? It would be Josh Allen. So this makes sense. So when people say he was snubbed, I don't understand that. That has to be some sort of bias. That has to be some sort of, he has to win the award for some reason, just because he's electric. Yeah, Lamar Jackson is electric. Lamar Jackson is a phenomenal quarterback who does incredible things. It's not about flash. It's about, are you more valuable to the team than the others? Literally most valuable player, not most flashy player. Not most player who could do both things, run and pass. Josh Allen deserved this award 110%. And I know people might disagree with that, say that Lamar got snubbed, but it literally makes no sense if you're saying he won it last year for this reason, and yet then that means Josh Allen must win it this year. If you guys want to say Lamar Jackson should have won, fine, whatever, but he won already. Josh Allen won, vindicated there. The argument makes sense now. The argument is, are you the player, the key player to the success? Are you the key player getting it done? Are you the key player getting the wins? Look, Josh Allen was that guy. It makes sense for last year with that argument. It makes sense this year for this argument. And some people want to say Joe Burrow should have won this award, but we all know that you do not win MVP if you do not win games. I know that winning games is not wins are not a quarterback stat, but I've said this before. If the quarterback is a reason why you won, one of the main reasons why you win games, that's different than just winning games. Because sometimes you can win games that are like 13-10, right? And the quarterback barely did nothing, actually just threw 2 interceptions, but still won. Somehow the quarterback still gets credit for it. However, there's wins where you're credited for what the quarterback did. So there's a difference there. In the end, Joe Burrow didn't get the wins they needed to get that award. Because we all know that you have to win games to win the MVP, whether you like it or not. That's just how it is, how it's always been.